Hi, and welcome. I've been thinking about that guy, Ben Carson. And, from the time I first saw him, I always thought he was like medicating himself because he never looked like he was quite there. He always looked like he was in a fog. And now, the more I hear him talking, the more things that he, says and does, he is even deeper in the fog than what I thought. This thing about slavery and immigration, him equating us coming to an America as immigrants when clearly or maybe he doesn't know anything about Black history or how African American people got here. And certainly we didn't come across, came into the Hudson Harbor and come through Ellis Island and got here as immigrants, as he seems to believe that that's how we came. No, we came in slave ships. And I want to tell you that it wasn't the best ride in the world either. When many were cast, there's tons of people, slaves, that African men and women at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean who preferred to jump into the water and die than to be taken in chains to the America, which wasn't America at that time. America was just beginning to be built. But they preferred to die rather than to be in slavery. And not only did they prefer to die, but many of them died in the gully of the ships. Thousands. They were piled on top of each other in chains. Not in beds, not in lofts, not in rooms, but on top of one another. Going to bathroom on one another. Food being thrown down into the gully hole like they were animals, and having to try to, thousands of them dying there and going to bathroom on each other. And this man, Ben Carson, wants to equate this with immigration and coming to this world with dreams and visions of things we wanted to do here and how we'd like to live and what legacies we wanted for our children. That wasn't how we got here. That's not our history. Our history is African American people who who are generations from slavery, whose forefathers and foremothers were in slavery, know the hardship and the suffering and the trials and the tribulations and the things we had to endure, being branded, being whipped, being chained, limbs being cut off and severed, being chased down by dogs, being whipped and lashed, working from sun up to sundown, and it wasn't with pay. We were slaves. We were in bondage, and we were treated as animals. We were bred. Families were broken up, sold off. Children, infants sold off. Parents broken up, sold off. And you want to equate this, Ben Carson, with coming to this country as immigrants with dreams? How dare you negate the suffering that we had to endure as people in this country? And yet we rise. And yet we rise. Like the Indians, they tried to kill us off when slavery was outlawed. They tried to kill us off. When they put us into new forms of slavery, such as sharecropping, had us working in their fields and supposedly sharing the wealth with each other, but they took the greater portion and the stores belonged to them, and all the credit they gave to us was whatever we were supposed to earn out of the credits, out of the crops we were sharing with them. So they took everything. Then as we came into the urban years of migration north, the hardships we had to endure, redlining, that we couldn't buy anything, get any property, could only live in certain sections and areas, and only after white people left off out, leaving it to us to move in. My goodness, and you want to equate our history with the history of immigrants who came here freely, paid their way on ships to come to America seeking, yes, they came to seek better lives. The immigrants trying to get in this country now are coming into this country to seek a better life. But it's not our story. That's not our story. And none of us should negate the pain, the agony, the suffering, the trials, the tribulation, the hurt that all those years of slavery put upon us, that put upon our families. Half of us don't even know the other halves of our families because of what slavery did. Slavery stripped us of everything, of our heritage, our customs, our language, names. Everything was stripped from us. We're the only people in this country that had to redevelop and redefine ourselves and find out who we are and adjust to this world. Even our food, historical food, was taken from us, which is why we developed soul food. Came out of slavery. Gospel music came out of slavery. Our rhythm and blues came out of slavery. Came out of pain and suffering. And you would negate that because you some black man picked by this white man to be his Negro in arms. Head of HUD, the Housing Department of the United States. And you can't clearly articulate the history of the people from which you sprang from. Would you negate the history, the pain, and the suffering of your forefathers and foremothers who suffered that you might become that surgeon that you became, so that now you can wallow in the shadow of some man? They gave us dignity. They gave us life and breath because they survived under the oppression of slavery. When everything was done after slavery to destroy us, they survived. They continued. They thrived. We did not die off. Through all the lynching and the hanging and the tarring and the feathering, we survived. And Ben Carson, you ought to be ashamed of yourself to ever want to negate or cast aside our true history. We should stand proudly for who we are, for the blood and the tears that were shed that we might be here today. Where all these other people are coming into this country as immigrants, God worked it out for our good. We're here, and he gave us to be able to stand. As James Brown would say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. As Thurgood Marshall and Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King, to hold our heads high in the sky. Take a deep breath, baby, and say, God, I thank you for making me who I am. And I thank you for the legacy and the shoulders upon which I stand. To God be the glory. So all these people are running around and acting like Uncle Toms and clowning and skinning their teeth and looking stupid and ignorant at the slop that's being thrown at them from white people that don't care about them and do not think highly of them. You're enslaved. You're enslaved to your own indignities and your own selfless worth. But my people, my great-grandmother, my uncles and my aunts and my forefathers and people that I stand upon the shoulders of. They gave me to be strong and never to wallow and say, yes, Master, and thank you, Master, ever again. Because they taught me the value of education. They taught me how to walk and talk with pride and dignity. And they taught me to never be ashamed of who I am. To God be the glory.